Hello again. I will say to begin with that I'm very much against preventing anybody from having a job, getting a job, or being promoted solely on the grounds of that person's skin colour. I think this is an awful practice. Of course, I hold to that general principle, whatever the skin colour concerned, and it is in this that I differ from progressive people in modern Britain. For there is increasingly an idea that we should award people prominent posts in industry, medicine, and the professions precisely because of their skin colour. If that skin colour happens to be a little darker than my own, that is. I find this just as dreadful. Here's a genuine question. Three of the great offices of state in this country, that is to say, Home Secretary, Foreign Secretary, and Chancellor of the Exchequer, are now held by members of visible minorities. Does anybody watching this video actually think that these people were awarded those posts on merit alone? That is to say that the colour of their skin had no bearing at all on their appointment, and it was simply a case of the best man or woman for the job. Since 85% of people in this country do not belong to visible minorities, this strikes one as being, well, how should we say, implausible. Was it really the case that when casting around for somebody to fill the post of Foreign Secretary, Liz Truss could decide that the only person suitable for the post was a man with a degree in hospitality management from the Polytechnic of West London, who had worked in a few publishing houses? Seriously? Nobody eligible for that post who had experience of international affairs? No one who had worked in the Foreign Office? No former ambassadors or anybody? Just that fellow with the degree in hospitality management from the Polytechnic of West London, it seems, would do for that job. I personally don't believe this for a moment. I think that the Prime Minister chose a black man for the job of Foreign Secretary because she thought it would look good and make her government seem multicultural and inclusive. In other words, promotion in that case was decided by skin colour. And that is, as I said earlier, a practice I cannot abide. Kwasi Kwarteng is probably part of the same movement. He is almost like a caricature of a certain type of person. Watching his behaviour at the Queen's funeral was excruciatingly embarrassing. To see him speaking and laughing on his mobile while everybody else was remaining sombre and quiet. He was wholly unable to control himself or his limbs during the 2 minute silence. He was, by the way, formerly banging Amber Rudd, who used to be the Home Secretary, and is now married to another blonde white woman, so not conforming to too many stereotypes there then. Was he really the best man for the job? Or was he chosen, as though for the cast of a television series, to showcase diversity? Mention of Amber Rudd brings me to the topic of Home Secretaries. For 11 of the last 12 years, we've had women in the post of Home Secretary, 2 of whom have been of Asian origin. Is this meritocracy in practice? Or was it felt that because only men had been in this role for centuries, it was now time to give women a fair crack of the whip, regardless of whether they were any good at the job? And maybe they thought we ought to ensure that it's Asian women at that. Does anybody watching this think that Suella Braverman's ethnicity was irrelevant to her being allotted this post? Or is she too part of a drive to portray our government as diverse and inclusive? As I said at the beginning, I'm strongly opposed to preventing anybody from being promoted or given a job simply because of the colour of their skin. I've always been against what was once known as the colour bar. But where I part from modern liberals is that I disapprove of any prejudice around skin colour. I don't think it makes it any less awful if it's people with white skins being left out of the running for jobs, because only black people and Asians are needed. This looks very much to me like what is going on in the present government.